Hi, welcome to All Four Queens. So I was just standing in the kitchen, obviously before I start. Hope everyone's doing well. This is a spiritual channel. I talk about spiritual warfare and mainly some of the things that I'm going through as I'm going through the eye of the storm, and hopefully it will help others. I'm a teacher, but obviously if you want to know more about me, just read the bio and reach out. Assuming that you'll catch me because somebody is now in control. This is part of spiritual warfare. Someone is now controlling the narrative of what I do, what I put out into the ethers. But hopefully there are some readers out there that are picking up on the story and sharing it as well. So you can't stop everybody. Hey ho. So today I was just standing in the kitchen just doing some stuff, trying to eat a little bit more healthily, as you can see. But you get your breakouts and you drink a lot of water and stuff, don't you? But that's good. It means that you're hydrating. So obviously keep up with your water, more fruit, more veg if you can. And the reason why I say that is my body has changed so much, and things that I used to like, I just can't digest them now, or I don't want them now. So, but everyone's different. So, but that's part of your ascension, isn't it? As we move into the more higher and higher and higher, it's part of the ascension. So, the other thing that I noticed as well, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, and there was a beautiful reader on there that sort of explained it when I was first on the journey, was I didn't realise that you start to look like your soulmate, and but your face starts to change, because obviously if you're on the journey of like soulmates, then you will start to change and look like them. No, I don't know if that's true or not, but hey ho. Maybe something I need to look into a little bit more. Excuse me. Obviously I've had a lot of people trying to project on my throat. They don't want me to talk, but I'm going to go through them. We're going to get through this, and if I keep coughing, please excuse me. Right, so spiritual warfare, you'll see on some of the things that I've posted, the way that I've posted it. So this one, I was standing there and it was like money, 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 and I think it was an ABBA song, gimme, 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 or money, 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 I can't remember, but anyway, I'll have a look and I'll put it in the description. So why am I saying that? Because one of the things that I've noticed and observed on the spiritual journey, apart from the fact that everyone wants to block you and stop you achieving your objective and stop you achieving your goals and stop you getting into into your north node, because there's clones there that want to take your place, but obviously that's not what spiritual realm wants, so they can take that up with them. One of the things that I've noticed, the way that things have operated, and hopefully as we move more into more light and into more balance, these things will be less, and they'll be the righteous, that's the right way to do things. Now, we all know right from wrong. Nobody doesn't, but I think some people have just succumbed to the darker side of doing stuff because it's the way things have got done. And we all know we don't fight the flesh. There is scripture on that, and I'll put that in the description as well. So what I've noticed on the journey, you've seen the stalker, the deception, the manipulation, all the lies, money passes hands to people, and people get bribed, and people take people's inheritances and things like that, and they can pay people to do it, and things that get hidden and stuff like that. And a lot of it is surrounded by sex. Sex seems to be the way that people get things done in the dark. But as you ascend, certain things you don't do. I mean, I was never one. I mean, don't get me wrong. In my karmic days, I watched and I followed the crowd and stuff, but I was never one for just going out and just going crazy. It wasn't me, and I just didn't do it. But what I've noticed in the spiritual warfare, it's more apparent, and it's more, sex is, it doesn't matter who you are, as long as they get what they want, i.e. the manipulation or the deception, sex tends to be the tool. Now, if you look at the Jezebel spirit, incubus, succubus, that's what some of the spirits people carry. And obviously the more partners you lay with, the more attachments you get. So hence why it's so important when you split with somebody, you cleanse, you go within, you do the work so that you don't project on your next relationship, and you're ready for the next relationship. common sense prevails, and then, you know, go get tested to make sure you haven't got anything before you start something new. That's the normal way of doing it. But now obviously we know there is a high rise in STDs and STIs as well. So and obviously because I mean, you know, I've said I've been celibate for over 6 years. So for me, you know, all the rumours and the lies about me being a prostitute, I mean, like I said on one of the previous ones as a joke, I mean, how many prostitutes do you know that are celibate? I don't know any. So, you know, but this is the illusions and the delusions that they come up with. And I think for me, what I've noticed on spiritual warfare is people will take in the information and no one will validate it. You know, in my job, you know, when I was working in corporate and you know, everything you do, you validate. So why don't people validate what people say? It just blows my mind sometimes that people are so willing to accept what they're told and they don't go and they don't go and validate it, you know, down to the fact that I wasn't supposed to be alive. You know, who validated that? No one. But I was. So I just wanted to put it out there in terms of, you know, the scope is so wide, but you really have to be aware and tuned in to, one, what people say, because sometimes, I mean, I used to do Samaritans a lot, and it's like the listening, and one of the things you learn is it's not what people say, it's what they don't say, and it's the listening for that, and that comes with spiritual warfare. You know, people will gaslight you left, right and centre, and the things that they want you to know, they won't tell you, and they'll smile in your face and stab you in the back, and that can be anyone that you meet. Excuse me, spiritual birth. That can be anyone you meet, anyone that you meet. I mean, you know, I know on my journey, I've had strangers say awful things, malicious things about me, and they don't even know me, but they got paid to do it. So, you know, it's one of those things that you just need to be aware of. And I think as you awaken, you start to see why your life was the way it was, you know, sedentary and things like that, because of all the negative stuff that people were doing behind the scenes that you knew about, but you didn't have concrete proof on it. And then when you awaken, you start to get the downloads and you start to get the confirmation and you start to see it, because people, then the masks come off and they don't care, you know. So, you know, one of the things that is, you know, sex, for me, sex is sacred, you know, and there's scripture on that as well. And I know that the Bible is old scripture, but I think common sense and self-esteem and self-respect doesn't necessarily need to be biblical, does it? It's just about, you know, respecting oneself, isn't it? And you know, but we live in a world where everything's fast and it's furious. And I think on the previous one I put something about dating. You know, there's so much pressure to be with someone, but on a dating site you've got that many people that they all swipe, so they all will do the most craziest of things and probably go outside of who they really are just to get attention. Now for me, it's like I said, I want to be the one in a million, not the one of a million. So, and I think you learn that, and if that means being single, well then, you know, I'm happy with that too. You know, I don't want to be with someone where I have to share them. Now that comes into the third parties. So for me, I understand now. I probably didn't understand it so much before, but third parties seem to be a very big thing. And I don't necessarily think it's a spiritual warfare thing, but I think I noticed it more in as I ascended. And I understand it more now. It's all about energy. So obviously some of us carry the lighter energy, and you know, as we ascend, and you know, if you accept the call, i.e. the chosen, you know, I don't really put the label chosen on it, but if you accept the call to, you know, support, you know, God of light, raise the vibration and you know, Christ conscious, whichever way you want to look at it, just basically lift the vibration so that the planet, everyone's meeting where the planet's at, basically. And obviously go do a bit more research on that if you want to understand it a little bit more. But basically, I personally think we're all born of spirit, but then we choose which way we want to go. Do we go down the dark or do we go down the light? Now, in some cases, we were put in situations where we were in the dark, and that was lessons, karmic lessons to learn. But also, everyone has the karmic lessons, but we all have a north node, and everyone has a north node in their chart. It's whether or not you know about it and you actually want to aspire to it. So I think that's another thing as well, which probably we need to look a bit more at. You know, everyone's got one, but there are things that you need to leave behind to get there. And obviously habits and generational curses and debt and all that sort of stuff we need to break. So for me, yeah, I think the third party, from what I understand, from my experience, I never really understood it. Now I understand, you know, we've all got contracts, soul contracts and ties and things like that. Now, I'm not condoning cheating on anyone, not at all, because I do believe that, you know, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. If you don't want to be with someone, then you finish that one before you start another one. But that's not how some people do it. What they tend to do is they'll cheat. They'll take energy from the light one, for a better word, and then they'll take that energy back and feed other people. Now, there are other scenarios to that, because there are the men's club and there's the women's club, and you can either say societies, covens, cults, whatever you want to call it, or you can just be groups, can't it? And they all have a bit of that energy, and obviously, you know, use your imagination what they do to get it. And some are not, some don't discriminate, you know, and I'm not knocking anyone that likes the same sex, not at all. What I am saying is that's just how people take energy. You know, there's a different scenario on that, you know. You could question whether or not there's a bit of healing that needs to be understood there as well. But I'm not knocking it, so don't come at me for it. It's just, you know, we're all entitled to an opinion, aren't we? And that's just the way I see the world. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that's how I see the world. So for me, yeah, third parties. So sometimes they'll attach themselves to somebody who's with somebody, and then they'll obviously sleep together, and then they'll go back and sleep with somebody else, and then they get some energy, and then they pass that energy on. The challenge with that is obviously we've got a high increase in STDs and STIs, and for me, I think people need to be a bit more aware and a bit more mindful of what they're doing and where they're putting it. And I'm just going to say it because obviously there are other things that people like to do as well, so, and I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, so all I'm going to say, it's a war zone out there, as they said in Hill Street Blues. Be careful and be mindful. I'm sending everybody love, light, peace and harmony and healing for everybody that needs it. But obviously, yeah, just be mindful when you're dating and things like that, because, you know, you don't know what their karma is. You only know your karma, and sometimes you don't actually know your karma if you're just living in karma and you've never understood that life is a bit difficult because you're actually still in karma. But there's a couple of recordings on that, and if you want to know any more, just reach out and obviously, you know, ask me. And to the subscribers, the new subscribers, thank you. I'm not so sure that the subscribers outside of the people that are controlling me, but like I said before, if it is those in the darker side of spirituality that are controlling my content, then if I can at least reach out to one of you and get you to see a different perspective and maybe have more choices, you know, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about choice. You know, we live our lives for choice. And we shouldn't be oppressed and we shouldn't be controlled. And for me, my whole life has been controlled and suppressed by people who wanted to steal from me and control the narrative around me. And that goes to the stalkers as well, who obviously, you know, you can get into relationships with people and you don't actually know who they really are until you split up with them. And when you split up with them, that's when they show you who they are. And some of them have been very creative in terms of stopping me having relationships with others, going around lying about me and, you know, making people leave. In some cases, you know, I'm aware of the people that have phoned up my work and said negative things about that. They've gone into my phone and they've contacted all my contacts and my network and basically, you know, said some really egregious things so that people will stay away, and in some cases they've paid them to stay away as well. But obviously that's the other person's karma, isn't it? You know, it's like, it's that thing, isn't it? Their karma is how they behave, your karma is how you choose to respond. So, you know, always be mindful of that, you know, because sometimes it's just better to hand it over and surrender it and let those above deal with it, especially if you've got no recourse on the physical. And again, I'm not saying that everyone on the physical isn't good at what they do. You know, some people take an oath to serve and protect, and they do a very good job in it. Others take the oath to use the position and abuse the power, and therefore, you know, that causes all the problems, doesn't it? But obviously there's other things on there that, you know, you'll see in the videos that I've said on that as well. So just be mindful and just protect yourself and look after yourself and keep up with your spiritual practices. And I'll see you on the next one. See you later. Bye.